And we are live, coming back at you again with another Grapple Gurus review for you. Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another live rendition of Grapple Gurus, your BC WrestlePod PPV and PLE review show. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary folks of the internet, the forbidden door, the prohibiting portal, whatever you want to call it, has been open. And we are here to discuss AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door 2024 PLE, PPV, whatever. It's all the same.
CMLL.
And CMLL and Stardom.
And Stardom.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody here.
Hey, all the peoples.
Which we will talk about when we get to a certain thing, but I am super excited. I am your leader, your main squeeze, the one that's leading tonight, Mikey, also known as El Jefe around the BC WrestlePod parts. And I am here with the Elite Inside Review Team, your AEW PPV review team. First and foremost, I am here to introduce my co-host. So first and foremost, follow him all over at the Rampage and the Collision and whenever else we need a body because he's good at helping out when we need it. El Butador II is in the house.
Saludos, mi gente. How are we? It is good to be here. We are talking about the Forbidden Door. Let us talk.
Yes, we will. And then, as of right now, our other co-hosts joining us this evening, you can find them all over the Dynamite review and the SmackDown review. Crossing over into this wonderland that is all these wrestling companies getting together. The Professor, also known as John. Thank you for being here tonight.
Of course. I want to see Buntador's 1980s style therapy talk show. Let us discuss about the things that you're feeling It's 9 a.m. here on public access. I'm here to
Boom, boom,
exactly.
I love it so much.
I might be salty for this one. I said this before we started. I went 9-5 because I went with my intellectual, rational brain, because going with my heart got me hosed while making picks for another promotion. And everybody went with their heart and smoked me. You went 12-1 or something ridiculous.
I went 12-2, but we'll talk about that later.
What? How? What's wrong with my heart, man? Like, I can't. I had none chance. Ugh.
It's all right. You'll get him next time, champ.
I don't know, and we don't know what the punishment is for being at the bottom of the list, and I don't think I'm at the bottom of the list. But man, that was tough.
Yeah, stay tuned because we will reveal that. We'll reveal all of that at the end of the review. But later on in the review, we will be joined by our fourth co-host, JVL, John Van Vicious himself. So he'll be popping in a little bit later. But gentlemen, before we get into our review of Forbidden Door, let's do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. So thank you for tuning in. You can follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod. We are on the Facebook, the Twitter, the TikTok, the Instagram, the Threads, the pretty much all the social media sites that you could possibly think of, YouTube, Twitch. We have a Patreon. We have merch. Check all that out in our bio or the link in the description below to check all that goodness out. And of course, before we get into it, I got to do the thing real quick. All right.
There it is. There it is.
Yep, we got to make sure because this episode's about to get kind of rowdy in the sense that I have thoughts and opinions that might not make certain wrestling fans happy. But an important notice. We are thrilled to invite you to dive into the world of wrestling with us at BC WrestlePod. Your opinions and insights are what make our wrestling community vibrant and diverse. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the scene, your perspective is valuable. When sharing thoughts and commenting, let's remember to keep the conversation respectful and supportive. Wrestling is a passion we all share, and in our spirited discussions that we learn and grow together. So let's celebrate our favorite moments, discuss the incredible matches, maybe even debate the outcomes with kindness and respect. That's the politically correct version. My version is, in the words of Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret on YouTube, like what you like, don't be a dick. That's all I ask. Alrighty, boys, let's do this. So
let's get into it.
Let's get into it because we're gonna do some fancy stuff real quick. But first, let's get everyone all settled in.
Ooh, that's right. You got tiles for this. Yeah, look at all on here.
Love it so much. This is fantastic. It is beautiful. Hopefully, there we go.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
I love this. This is fantastic. But gentlemen, we are here to review from Long Island, New York on Sunday, June 30th, 2024. AEW New Japan presents Forbidden Door. Let's just jump into it because this pay-per-view made AEW history in the sense that combining 0 Hour and the main card, this had the most matches in AEW's history. You had 15 matches in total. One that we're going to talk about that wasn't advertised, but was it really a match though? There was let's just get into 0 Hour really quickly and give our thoughts because there was no match card for the first thing we got, which was Kyle Fletcher committing homicide on my television screen.
Yeah, kind of out of nowhere, really.
Well, he had to work off some pent-up aggression after losing the title in Mexico. So why not Serpentico, I guess.
Fair.
I mean, this was a squash match for what it was like maybe 3-4 minutes. That brainbuster, though, I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, Kyle Fletcher is not feeling great. He lost the Ring of Honor World Television Championship to Atlantis Jr. this past weekend in CMLL. Oh, Kyle Fletcher, we love you. We don't know what's going on.
I mean, it was a great match, but that's not Forbidden Door. Kyle Fletcher squashed Serpentico. It was good to see Serpentico back because he was out injured from what people were saying. So it was good to see him back.
Yeah, and
So,
we were talking about this on the last Dynamite review too, that there's been sort of this string of like, oh, you're hurt. I wonder where they've been. Oh, look, they're back. And this kind of was a trend for the rest of the night, right? It was like, oh, you're here. Oh, you're here?
You're here. What?
Wait a minute. I thought you were, well, so that kind of, little did we know this would come back a handful of times.
Yeah, that definitely was going to be a thing. Some worked out better than others, but that's all right. So now let's get into the actual matches that were advertised. Oh, trust me, I'm going to be so salty when we get to a certain match. Yeah, it's about to go down. But
okay,
now, here we go. So we got the first match that was advertised that we got was a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. This saw the Kings of the Black Throne, which is Brody King and Malachi Black, sorry, taking on to the teams of Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii. We have Roderick Strong and your New Japan Open Weight Champion Gabe Kidd, and of course, Brother Zay and Mark Webb of Private Party. This was a quick match. I was really surprised to see Gabe get pinned in this match. I for sure thought one of the Private Party boys was getting this pin.
That's what we talked about last week, right? It was sort of like, oh, Private Party's there to eat the pin. Even though I was wavering, sort of like, I wonder if, but we all kind of knew where that was going to go.
Yeah, I didn't think that Private Party, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Private Party has met up with House of Black in recent, like in the last few weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, and they lost to House of Black. So I don't think that they were gonna retread that. I knew Private Party was there to get the audience hyped. Didn't really see a lot of at least from my perspective, I didn't see a lot of Tomohiro Ishii or Kyle O'Reilly, except to further along that Kyle O'Reilly Roderick Strong storyline. But I mean, as a wrestling match, it wasn't. I didn't mind it. I liked it. House of Black won. I like House of Black, so I was good with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a match. House of Black got the win. I'm hoping that now we can address that they are still number one contenders for the Trios Championships, even though we've kind of just skirted the patriarchy into this whole entire thing. But that's because Mr. Buddy Matthews and Rhea Ripley got married, so they're enjoying some time together, which I love.
Yeah, Buddy Matthews didn't actually
get hurt,
knee blown up, and then he's fine. He's just enjoying time with mommy, as they're allowed to. So
words of Dolph Ziggler. It should have been me.
I mean, if he hangs him up and never comes back, don't blame him at all.
He wins.
Like,
he wins.
You've already won at life, my friend.
You're
gonna be just fine.
You're good.
Absolutely.
I will just very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but House of Black always works in the dark. They always pop out in secret. So I feel going forward with the trios thing that they are going to be coming in like they normally do, that they're going to come in through the audience. They're going to pop up when the patriarchy least expects them, that type of thing, until they either A, get a third, or B, buy time for Buddy to come back, to which he'll probably make a surprise return back, so, but that's all I want to talk about. That we're talking about Forbidden Door next.
All right, so next up on 0 Hour, this match was also really fun. We had a tag team match, Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano taking on the team of Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. I was so happy to be right about this because I figured that Willow and Tom were going to win. Again, I say this every time that Chris and Willow end up on 0 Hour. You should have put this on the main card.
Absolutely right.
Yup.
Absolutely right. And you could have swapped a few things that we'll talk about later, like, and you it would have gone way better. Right. I thought this was a blast. They kind of kept the energy going. 0 Hour, the energy for 0 Hour going into this as a live event was, everyone kind of fed that, right? It was sort of like, if I was there live, I would be fired up going into this.
I'm gonna start my private island by saying that I feel like on the whole the matches for 0 Hour were better than the main card, and I'm on my private island.
Better than the whole 6 hour main card.
Better than the whole almost 2-day main card. Yes.
Oh jeez.
I'll tell you what, Tam and Momo. I don't want to leave them out of this conversation because they were fun. They were really good, really agile. Momo was just like that anime character who's just kind of like says like, you know, and just like, you know, put the beating down. I actually really want to try to find some Stardom so that I can see more of if this is the wrestling that comes out of Stardom, I want to see more of it. So, you know, good on them for selling me on Stardom. And the match was fun. It was a great wrestled match that, you know, is furthering that Willow Chris storyline.
I agree. Now, I love this match. All 4 of these women killed it. But now, again, Forbidden Door, we are leading into it. Willow gets the win. She's losing in the Owen Hart tournament. Like, that to me, that's probably what we're going. But who knows? Yep. I've been proven wrong before. Just like this match.
This match, yeah.
I wanted more. I'm sorry. I wanted more. I know it's on 0 Hour. I feel so bad for Mariah and Saraya.
I came in late to 0 Hour because I was doing stuff around the house. So by the time I got into 0 Hour, this is what I watched. Then I went back. I wondered what had happened. I felt like something had gone wrong. I felt like they were cut or something was not quite right here. Is Saraya hurt? Is she just been gone? She's just not as sharp.
Yeah, well, she hasn't wrestled a lot. I can think of one match that she's had like in the last month. So, you know, other than the whole Ruby Soho thing that they did, but that was done as I believe either a trios or with her brother Zach, where he did most of the heavy lifting in that. So yeah, I don't know if she is hurt. I don't know if it's ring rust. For what it was, this was a good 0 Hour match. Yeah. And especially as, you know, being part of the Owen Hart tournament, I thought it was a good match for that. You know, Mariah May continues to impress me. You know, she really, to me, looked like she had more like ring tactician going on in this match. But yeah, I will agree that it looks like Saraya was off, or yeah, something was going on there.
Do we know what the time on this was? How many minutes did they get?
I want to say probably, like, if I had to guesstimate, probably around 7-8 minutes.
Really?
Maybe.
It felt fast. Yeah. I came in thinking I missed a chunk of it, and then when I rewatched 0 Hour, I was like, no, I saw the whole thing. Wait, what? I don't know. Something was kind of missing here. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah. But ultimately, Mariah picks up the win here. She's moving on, where she will be facing Hikaru Shida in the semifinals. That's going to be a good match. And I'm like, Mariah, you better pull up all the stops because Hikaru is that girl.
Mm-hmm.
But we finally close out 0 Hour with my favorite match on 0 Hour. This trios match. Hatchets are being buried. Latinos rise up. Para mi gente. Seriously, man. But we have LIJ, Los Incoronables de Japón, which is Yota Tsuji, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi taking on Team Lucha Libre, which is AAA and AEW's The Lucha Brothers and Rey Fenix and Penta El Cero Miedo, teaming up with the golden child of silver and gold of CMLL, Místico. AAA and CMLL are burying the hatchet on this pay-per-view. Like, I never thought in my lifetime would I see these two companies like bury the hatchet. But I'm glad they did, because this was my favorite match on 0 Hour.
Yeah, this felt just with the participants in the match, it felt like a very lucha match, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. If correct me if wrong, but I feel like there were even some spots where they didn't even do the tag-ins. They did the lucha rule where
Yes,
the person just like came in and out.
They absolutely did.
And it's funny, like I watched it happen the first time, and because I've been watching so much CMLL, I was just like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden, like my American wrestling brain kicked in. He's like, he's not holding the rope, and he wasn't tagged in. Golly gee willikers,
Your wrestling brain's a white guy from the 40s.
But yeah, exactly.
Gee willikers, I think there's a
Gee
problem here.
willikers.
Wait a second. No, I don't
Did you
get me
check
wrong.
his boots? Anyway. But yeah, it was a high energy match. It was really cool. And then I don't know if y'all caught the and I am going to talk about this because it does pertain to Forbidden Door. I don't know if you guys saw the after the match spot on social media where Ray, Penta, and Mystico are talking in Spanish, but Ray is kind of acting like, he's thanking Mystico for coming and helping this, that, and the other. And then Penta is like, Penta stops Ray, or I'm sorry, Mystico starts talking about how he was happy to come up, and it was a great honor, and this, that, and the other. And then Penta stops him, and he's like, I didn't forget what you did to me. Like all those feelings never die. And Mystico was just like, if you want me, you know where to find me, and walks off screen. So we could see Penta versus Mystico down in La Catedral de Lucha.
My goodness.
So
that would just,
there you go.
I missed that. I will go find that after this,
Yes.
or if anyone has a link to it, I will happily watch that.
I
This is one of those matches. I don't have notes. I don't have stuff I wrote down because the whole time you're watching it, you're just mesmerized.
Yeah.
It's still what magic to me. Like, how do you do that? How does that doesn't make sense? What you know what I mean? And that's kind of a cliche thing to say, and that's sort of thrown around other media outlets or whatever else. Like, oh, it's mad, like it's used too much. I get it, but it legitimately sometimes feels like, how can you walk on the ropes that long? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. Or how do you get more air slower? How does physics work where you come from? Like, some of these little things are like, they're using GTA physics sometimes. Like, that doesn't even, did you just glitch Madison Square Garden? Like, crazy things. Like, not Madison Square Garden, wrong pay-per-view.
Yeah. The other bet, and this is my last thing, is that it seems like up in the States, when you have luchadors come out, they do a spot. Like, they'll come, they'll do their rope walk thing, and boom, boom, and then that's like it. And you don't, and then there might be another spot, but then that's it, Whereas in Lucha Libre, it's just constantly like that. And that's how this match was. It wasn't, you didn't have like a spot, then break, then spot, then break. It was just like going and going and going and going and going. It was
and not to go full wrestling nerd on you, but the idea that wrestling in the States took off when it started being made for TV. So you kind of blocked out these sort of segments for camera, TV, almost like a joke, bump, set, spike, like this thing, that thing. So there's this cadence when you look at other promotions. Lucha don't care. Lucha's like, we're going to go. And if you can't keep up, you can't keep up, and that's on you. So I love that they didn't change or adapt the style. They went for it. This was a lot of fun.
Like I said, this was my favorite match of the 0 Hour. This was fantastic, but we must leave 0 Hour behind because now we get to the main card, And I'm sitting there as the intro package is playing. I was like, okay, what is opening up this card? And sure enough, we got our answer, because opening up Forbidden Door, we had in a singles match MJF versus CMLL's Alchemist Hechicero. I'm sad that we didn't get the full entrance with the bowl and the fire, but I understand that takes forever.
Yeah.
Hechicero's huge.
Yes, he is.
And I kind of realized that doing the Dynamite reviews. Seeing him directly compared to MJF taking shirt off, I was like, oh, that's a large man. My God, just a boulder of a human. I didn't.
And he moves, but he moves,
and he can move. And he has athleticism even. The internet's kind of really dragging on this one as the opener, right? Like folks liked it, but they didn't think that was the best way to open. And there's the internet's kind of going yay or nay on this one. I thought this was great. I didn't hate this. Two very different styles for sure. The crowd was interesting in that, yeah, MJF's the homer, but they weren't cheering for him all the time. They had moments where they weren't really feeling what he was doing, which was interesting to me. But there was some great feats of strength in this. Hechicero was hitting him hard, and I don't think MJF was doing anything to really give damage or to make it look like as hard as MJF's going to hit. Hechicero's just going to eat it, right? But there's some good stuff outside the ring here. I don't know. I think the internet's being a little hard on this. I don't know if you two has an opinion or not.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Now, having said that, it wasn't like a super electrifying first match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is fine, because it was good. It was wrestling, and it was good wrestling. So,
yeah.
For people to be bagging on it as hard as they are, I don't see why.
Is this a case of 0 hours setting the bar a certain way, and then
maybe, or maybe people were not to upset people, but maybe they were expecting 2023 MJF, like for him to be carried out on a palanquin type thing,
sure,
for him to come out to to like a swing band type thing,
sure,
but that didn't happen. He came out, Hechicero came out, they wrestled. It was a good tight match. I thought it was a good first match for the night,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why people are bagging on it.
Yeah, this felt like a pretty straightforward MJF match.
Yes, exactly.
And not to I don't want, this is a trope now, Bi-Conics, I say this a lot. This kind of felt like a high-end Dynamite match, right? Like I could have seen this on a Wednesday, or on a Sunday or Saturday night. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, fine.
Yep.
But I didn't hate it. I don't know what fireworks folks wanted coming out of the gate. We could save that for opinions later on. But I thought, I don't know.
Can I throw this out? And not to beat this drum that we beat on in Rampage a lot, but is it maybe because MJF was wrestling Hechicero?
Oh, that's an interesting point.
And he wasn't wrestling a higher named individual.
Maybe,
which is a shame, because Hechicero is a good wrestler. Like we said, he's big, he's got moves, he's got great showmanship, so yeah, I didn't see why the internet was in such a tizzy.
I don't know.
Golly gee willikers.
Exactly. I'm not sure if they just wanted a different type of fireworks to start the thing.
Yeah.
And again, like for a hometown crowd, hometown hero, you kind of wanted, like you said, maybe they wanted MJF big band going in there before the Adam Cole reveal like a year and a half ago, or whatever that was now. Like maybe that's what they were expecting.
Yep.
But this was a very straightforward MJF playing Ravishing Rick Rude, Homer. I didn't hate that.
No, I did. Yeah.
Was it the match of the night? No. Was it a good, solid, hey, let's go out there, not get hurt, and give him something to show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought this was a solid match. This wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like a 10 out of 10. This was a solid match, of course. This crowd was interesting through this whole entire thing because they were all hyped for 0 Hour, and then it took them until the very end to get back there. I was like, what is happening?
They didn't seem interested again until somebody else who thinks they're from Long Island came out. But we'll talk about that when we get there because that was hilarious.
That we definitely will. But MJF beats Echiseto, so MJF opening up the show, picks up a win here, and we're continuing to build to the next thing. But we leave this match and we go on to the second match on the main card. All right, let's get this out of the way. So this is Scissor Ace himself, Hiroshi Tanahashi, teaming up with the Acclaim, taking on the Elite. As soon as this match was made, I was like, oh, Okada's going to pin Tanahashi because Okada has yet to beat Tanahashi in New Japan lore. And I was like, all right, this is going to be it. I'm going to be honest, and I say this all the time, anytime we see the Acclaim. Once again, Anthony Bowens is carrying and doing the wrestling god's work in every match he's in. I was like, give this man a title run.
He can do anything. I love watching him. And what's it been the last 3 weeks? We've been calling for like, hey, give him a singles run. I mean, you've been saying it forever, but give him a singles run anywhere. That dude will hold it down. What a talent amidst this.
I actually thought that that the Acclaim work well together. I'm alone on my island.
They work great together. But there's a part of me that's like, oh, as a singles guy, you'd be incredible.
Yes. Yes. I do agree with that. I mean, going into this match, I knew the Elite was going to win. It was just a question of how. Like how underhanded are they going to go, or are they going to get a clean win? Replaying the match in my brain spot here, they got a clean win. There were some fun spots. There were I really liked a lot of the mirroring spots that they did. Where they like pile drivered each other, but it was like a mirror of what the other team was doing. I found nothing wrong with this match.
I appreciated that this match didn't take itself as seriously as it could. I think you could get bogged down in because New Japan, as serious and as honorable and as tradition as New Japan goes, they're funny.
Yes.
They have a blast. They're fun. And then this was one of the few matches that I think leaned on that. Matt running the ropes for no reason, just to kiss his brother. That's hilarious.
When he put the headset on and
Okada being the white dude at the party. Yes. Okay. Which, by the way, that was one of Max's weaker raps I've ever heard, ever. But that's me, hip hop aside. The double scissoring thing worked. That was a great spot. There was so much fun here. Can Tanahashi, and this is, you two might know a little bit, can Tanahashi move his back at all? He kind of walks like the Tin Man.
Go ahead, Mikey. Go ahead.
Because I don't know. And the way he was moving, I was like, are you okay?
So it's no secret, and I wish JBL was here to talk about this right now, but I will. So for the longest time, because Tanahashi has been wrestling for quite some time in New Japan, and as we know, Japanese style wrestling tends to be harder than any other continent. It's showing the wear and tear of him having like a 15-year plus career in this.
Okay.
But that's why now he's kind of more transitioned. He'll still do matches if need be, but he's transitioned more into the backstage role, especially since Hiroshi Tanahashi is the newly appointed president of New Japan Pro Wrestling too. So
and he's not moving badly. It's like when he has to get from one side of the ring to the other, there's that sort of power walk, I can't move my back thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Still sold really well, still plays air guitar fine, like was there for the end, great, but not knowing the history, I just had a moment of like, oh God.
Yeah, there was another time, I think he was on Rampage or Collision in a match, and I actually said along the same things that you said, Prof, was is he okay? Because he does certain things, he does look a little stiff when he moves, especially when he went up to the top ropes. I was a little nervous, especially knowing that he's now the new president for NJPW. So
I kind of like a fighting president, though. There's something about that that I'm like, that's kind of great that you're the president and you're in the mix. Yeah. And not in a biased nepotism way. Like you're still slinging it, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is the second appearance on AEW TV that Tanahashi has lost. Because I'm almost positive the previous appearance that he had on
he
AEW,
also lost, I think. Yeah.
He lost as well. So
which is really nice that Tanahashi's not afraid to get pinned or lose, because I'm just looking at certain Western wrestlers. They can learn a thing from that. So I'm just saying, we'll get to them in a little bit. But the Elite pick up the victory. So the Acclaimed and the Bucks are now 1-1. So this blow-off match is whenever they're going to have their tag team championship match, because the Acclaim a couple weeks ago pinned the Bucks to win. So now the Acclaim still has a shot at those tag team titles. When, we don't know, but I'm looking forward to the blow-off match with that. So we're going to move on from this trios match, and we get into the first banger of the main card for me. In a Owen Hart men's quarterfinal match, we have the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, Bryan, taking on the other dragon, the Red Dragon of Shingo Takagi.
Call Danielson what he is, Mikey, the Clam Digger. It's the Clam Digger for Shingo Takagi. The Clam Digger.
The Puget Sound Clam Digger.
Nigel McGuinness is out of control, and I love him, but this was my first banger of the evening. This is exactly what I wanted. Danielson and Takagi gave me everything that I wanted in this match. Yeah. This had chops. This had kicks. This had technical wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Takagi looked great in this match. That's what surprised me. I was like, yo, they're kind of let Takagi running over Danielson. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this one or if some of them are blended together, and I'm trying to find it here in the replay. Is this the match where the guy shook him off and said, no, you can hit me harder, and then hit him harder? Was it this match, or does that happen later? Or did any of you clock that or see that?
I can't remember.
I think it was this match.
There was a forearm shot, and I think it's Takagi takes it, go boom, and he goes, there's this little subtle wink that the camera catches, like, go ahead, a little more. Then he does it again. Boom.
Yep,
Goes, about right there.
I think.
Boom. And they start going for it. Like, oh my God. He's telling him to hit him harder. This was so much fun. This was great. Like this was
good. Shingo Takagi looked really good in this match. Bryan Danielson, the Clam Digger, looked like the Clam Digger. Glass Bryan Danielson looked fragile as usual.
El Buntador going full heel on us.
I that kicking the head in spot always makes me nervous, but he finds a way to make it safe. And this looked just as vicious as all of them, and I was still like, I know that's safe. I know it's the collarbone. I know it's but oh my God.
Yeah. I will in all seriousness though, Bryan Danielson, like you said, Mikey, for it's Takagi to beat on Danielson for as long as he did. That was just props to Bryan Danielson for letting that happen.
Yeah, there was a good 5 minutes of just I'm gonna squash you. Like, shit.
And Shingo Shingo Takagi looked like a legitimate threat, which was the whole point. You know, you had Dragon versus Dragon. So
I agree. There was one moment that I did get worried. They sold it very well when Takagi gave Danielson the DDT outside on the mat, like on the floor near the. I was like, no, don't, not the head, but Danielson and the cameraman kind of like failed a little bit, but I was okay with it because we didn't see the tap out. Because I was just like, what? Did he quit? Did he say something? Oh, okay. Well, he tapped out, but I was
and
like,
then commentary is like, it's a verbal tap. He said it out loud. He must have said something to It's like, okay,
don't lie to me. I will get on commentary when we get to a certain.
I was
match.
about to say,
mad.
we need to have a sidebar about commentaries, but I want to do the matches first.
Yeah, but they brought JR back.
We'll talk about JR because
Yes.
I'm like, somebody come get this man's. We'll talk about it when we get to the last two matches. But Danielson beats Takagi by submitting him, making him tap out. So this is going to be Bryan Danielson versus Hawk in the semifinals, which I'm like, this is going to be good. Oh, this is going to be good.
Wait, he's against who?
Against
Pac.
the bastard, Pac.
Oh, it is Pac.
Yeah, Clam Digger versus Pac.
And let's be real, the finals are going to be Danielson and Hangman, and that match is going to slap. But we move on from this match. This is where commentary started to rear its ugly head into this. I was very upset with them.
Yes.
But this match for the AEW Women's World Championship with Mariah May caught in the middle of all of this, we have timeless Toni Storm defending her title against one of Stardom's brightest stars, Mina Shirakawa. I loved this match.
Yep.
I was just like, Mina screaming every 5 seconds. I was like, there we go. This is the Joshi wrestling that I love.
Yeah.
Like, just shades of Asuka, Kairi, any Joshi Japanese wrestler. Like, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And she got a lot of offense in the first half of this match. She was throwing Toni everywhere.
Yes, she did. Yes, Toni was getting her ass beat. This match told a great story. This match was just a fantastic storytelling match from start to end. And the beautiful thing is that they didn't do what everyone was waiting to happen, where Mariah May, like, she like, oh, everything's okay, and like sneak attacks Toni, or Toni Storm like jumps on top of Mina and like starts beating the crap out of Mina.
What I was waiting for. Yeah.
Right. And then, Mariah has to step in. No, it was, start to finish, a great wrestled match between two great wrestlers. And at the end, they shook hands and they walked off, power of friendship, call it whatever, what you will, but it was a great story. It was a great story. I got super frustrated with commentary because I felt like they kept getting hung up on the other bits that were happening, which there was like, come on. Like, do we really need to, cycle out the old men for like some younger, like less, dare I say, chauvinistic men set in their way type thing? Because like at times, some of the comments that they were making, it was just like, are you all just watching? Are you watching the match? Or are you just like transfixed by the titties and ass that are flying all over the place? Like, I mean,
this was giving me shades of early Jerry the King Lawler. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah. Like, yes, okay, yes, they're both beautiful women. Yes, Mina Shirakawa, her outfit, was a little risque, but like,
I mean,
Watch
maybe
the wrestling.
I have students come to classes wearing stuff like that. That stuff doesn't face me.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I feel you. Yeah.
It just seemed like commentary kept focusing
And
on
it's
that stuff.
but
and not, like,
Excalibur get thrown it back like it looks like Tony's in a lot of trouble here, guys. Mina
Right,
off the
yeah.
top didn't even see that, and everyone around was sort of like, can you see what her? Oh, look at her.
Yeah.
Come on.
yeah.
Or throwing it back to Mariah May. It's like, oh, Mariah's really worried. We're not worried about Mariah. Even she's watching the thing. Come on.
Right. Right.
Mina has a great spot going off the top, getting Tony and Luther, which was a great
That
moment.
was
Again,
awesome.
just glitching the screen. I don't know how she did
Yeah.
that. Those hip attacks Tony Storm throws look painful.
I don't care if this gets us in trouble. I am bringing back.
Hot take from the island?
I am bringing back from years past the flying ass. Timeless Tony Storm, your hip attacks are not hip attacks. You wield the flying ass. Because like she would load up and she like.
The one that knocks Mina out the ring, where it is quite literally all butt between the ropes, just that one, yes.
It was well done.
Yeah, and I think that was because I think Mina can take it. I'm going to put a little more emphasis on this one, and they were just boom, like, oh my god,
yeah.
Every forearm shot Mina throws is flush and snug, and it rocked Tony.
Yep.
So
and then when Mina, so when she did the spot off the top rope that took out Tony and
Luther, got them both.
Luther, that was a beautiful crossbody.
Yeah, beautiful.
Holy cow.
On the social media after this match, the three of them did not quite a thirst trap, but a cute little three of them walking together. We are now a group of three thing.
Yep.
Which was super cute and perfect. And them all kind of being together as friends. And now we have kind of sort of whatever this faction is, maybe. But I'm glad that you said what you said earlier. I'm glad they didn't lean on the revenge and relationship thing. It's so played out, and you could do more with them. Like, hey, now it's the three of us versus the world type of thing.
Right.
It means we see more Mina.
Hopefully.
It means that Mina didn't lose and get sent back to Japan. It means we have a reason for Mariah May to do more stuff, and now there's people behind her. I mean, I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
It's too bad the crowd didn't care.
This crowd was so weird.
They applauded at the handshake. I think they were all waiting for the betrayal that didn't happen. And when the three of them left, there was just this like exhale of none drama. It was, I don't know if the mics didn't catch it. I don't want to shit on a crowd. I wasn't there. I don't know. My perception was they kind of tuned out.
I feel like we need to take a break from Long Island when it comes to Forbidden Door and just the East in general. Move Forbidden Door around to the different locations. I'm just saying.
And you, so Adolfo this isn't, I don't want to go too far on a tangent. We got a lot to get to. We have 3 more days of matches. Is this an East Coast thing where if you're from a place that has a little bit of notoriety, you have to tell everyone you're from there as often as possible?
It's funny. Well, it is a tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut thing. And I'll even stretch that out into Massachusetts as well. Yes. The people collectively from those states, they have to keep telling you that they are from those states.
Okay. Because Californians don't care. We just call everyone dude, and then eventually you figure it out.
Right.
In the Midwest, if you went to Notre Dame, I know because you've told me 5 times. And it seems like everyone on the East Coast, or at least the wrestlers, or when we go there, if you have ever lived in, or it's just sort of like, oh yeah, Long Island. I'm from here. Remember, I'm from here, right? Well, I grew up here, right? I mean, being a Long Island guy myself.
In Long Island. I got a cousin in Long Island.
Yeah, no matter what. So like, I've spent some time here. Let me tell you, I get it. You're from here. You don't have to tell me anymore. Humans.
I mean, but Timeless Tony Storm I forgot to mention her entrance as the Statue of Liberty was great.
That was
Like,
that was
that
actually really
hot.
cool.
Yeah, that was good.
it was so
That was really
fantastic.
good.
But Timeless Tony Storm defeats Mina Shirakawa. She still has her title, and the road to Wembley is on the way. So we move away from this pretty good match. I love this match. Commentary sucked, but we'll get to them also a little bit later about another match. But then we get into another banger because I was pleasantly surprised, and I am so happy that finally somebody got a win because they've been losing every single year on Forbidden Door. But in a singles match, we have kind of friendless Orange Cassidy taking on the next generation technical wrestler, best in the world, Zack Sabre Jr. This match was awesome. And then this went up to in my list for my favorite matches of the evening because literally Zack Sabre Jr. invented a new submission hold by doing like 2 arm bars and a clover leaf all wrapped
What
into one.
was that?
I was like, that was like, whoa, okay, this is new, and I loved it. And he prevented Cassidy from tapping, so he had to verbally say he's out. I was like, this is the verbal tap. If you're not a fan of Orange Cassidy because of his shtick, I get it. But after 3 straight years of bangers with Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door, the first year it was him versus Ospreay. Last year was the Fatal 4-Way with him, Shibata, Daniel Garcia, and Zack Sabre Jr. This year, one-on-one with Zack. Y'all got to stop sleeping on Orange and saying that he can't wrestle because this dude can pretty much do it all at this
Who's
point.
saying he can't wrestle? People saying he can't wrestle?
Well, the problem is people look at Orange Cassidy's character and how he presents this character, and they're like, he's not a great wrestler. He's just about popping the crowd and having moments. But lest we forget, matches like this proves that he is a savant and he can do any style very well.
You're not watching the product if that's you're actually saying that, and you're just trying to troll people who are to make them feel bad. This is another one of those. We talked about this on the Dynamite not too long ago. Like those matches where if somebody asks you what's professional wrestling, you go, oh yeah, you have them watch something like this. You can give them the flashy stuff. And after watching something like this, you can go, okay, now that you know that, this is kind of what CMLL looks like. This is what Lucha stuff. This is what they hit in Japan. They kind of hit these marks. This is the soap opera that is this product. Like, so technical, so catch wrestling. If you had done a match like this in the 60s, 70s, 80s, this would have been, work of art type stuff, right? This is what wrestlers watch to go, yeah, look at this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing to that thing. I think the crowd kind of went, what am I watching? At some point, they won them back about halfway through because submissions that no one has ever seen before started to happen. But this was wild. This was a lot of fun.
I am gonna say what I said in the group chat, and again, I'm probably alone on this island. I will be alone on this island. Zack Sabre Jr. is the best technical wrestler in the world over Bryan Danielson.
Ooh.
Because some of those moves that he pulled and he reversed and he went into and then reversed again, it was just so smooth and there was no break in it. It was just like whoo, 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 whoo. And then he's got the showmanship too, which is something that I feel that Bryan Danielson is missing. He winks at the crowd. He talks smack to Orange Cassidy. This match was just such a work of art. It was good. Yeah. It was good.
Oof. I don't want to get into that heads up call with you because we'll be here all day. But I think you say that so succinctly. It's the fact that we're saying that is huge in itself. Like, oh, by the way, these are the two people we're comparing.
Yeah, I agree with El Buntador because I think that Danielson was the best technical wrestler for that generation of wrestling. Zack is definitely the future. And I think what helps Zack too is if anyone knows their wrestling history, technical wrestling, especially in the British wrestling scene,
Oh yeah.
Very succinct. It's very disciplined. Zach still has one of my favorite things when he like locks someone's leg and does, I don't know the official move, but I call it the IG Dream of Genie, like northern bridge.
Man.
And it's a beautiful, he's on his toes. He's got a beautiful
So good, but
bridge. Yeah.
I thought this was a great match. Whereas Danielson and Takagi was like the hard hitting technical. This was to the mat technical, and I love this kind of stuff.
This almost made my list for matches, and I could be swayed one way or another for the year. One things to go back and look at. This one's pretty close. It's on the cusp.
I love this, but Zach finally got a win over Orange. It took 3 years of Forbidden Doors, but Zach finally got a pin on Orange. He made him quit with that very creative submission. One thing I also noticed in this match too, Orange got a little more vicious than I've normally seen him in the last couple of weeks. I was like, are we going to get a more vicious Orange? Because I'm kind of here for that.
Well, that was the theory, right? Once he switched to the Where Is My Mind Pixies music, that was
lost all his
Orange.
friends. All his friends are gone. Like,
so now he's sad emo Orange.
Yeah. Really quick, before we move on, did anyone else catch when Zach was working over Orange Cassidy's fingers and he pulled them like this and then he went like that?
Yeah.
And there was a very loud, distinct snap.
That was my question. Where'd the nap come from on that?
Right?
Anyone know?
I didn't see anything. Alice didn't see anything. No one knows where the snap came from.
I mean, that was I know. That was a good crack sound.
Yeah. All I know is I heard that, and I'm like, I hurt for you, Orange Cassidy. Oh my!
Maybe
God.
they found a way to crack a knuckle to make it sound like that. I know when you crack knuckles, they can get very loud, especially if you have lots of gas stuck in those knuckle spaces.
There's got to be one like Long Island Foley guy who sat in the front and who got free tickets, and that was his job for the whole night. Was like, wait for it, check this out.
Wait,
and he
hold,
hits with the napstick, just so he could be like, yeah, I was there, I did it, I had a job. Okay, yeah,
my cousin, he's from Long Island as well.
This was an awesome match. Zach picks up the win here. And I was riding very smooth because I had gotten every single match right so far until, which, before we talk about the match, so we had the trios, Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata taking on the learning tree of Chris Jericho, the Redwood Big Bill, Large William, as we call him in other parts, and your New Japan TV champ, Jeff Cobb. Poor Jeff Cobb. I did not want him to be in this position. But before we talk about the match, I want to show you how I felt at the beginning of the match and how I felt at the end. Me at the beginning of the match and then me at the end of the match is exactly how I felt.
Really?
I was like,
yeah,
only because number one, I was happy to be wrong because, spoiler alert, Joe, Hook, and Shibata pick up the win. But number two, I love the absolute disrespect Chris Jericho received at the beginning of the match with people yelling at him to retire. And then the absolute disrespect of Hook using the Judas effect to pin him for the win, too. I was like,
so
yes,
Chris Jericho getting the mic should have read the room a little better. I know he's trying to build heat. It just came off cringy, as the kids would say. It did not have, at least to me, it did not have the effect that I think he wanted. I think he was like, hey, this is an opportune moment to get more heat and tell everyone that I'm from Long Island, because that's what you do if you're from Long Island. You tell people you're from Long Island.
Right.
And I laughed because I was like, what are you? You're Canadian. And then Taz had to jump in and go, actually, when he was a kid, he lived there for a few years. So he's from Long Island. Like, shut up. No, you're not.
Yep.
So that's a rough way to start. And you can even see Large William trying to be like, yeah, okay, great. Like, what are we doing?
All that aside, this was a fun match. I thought this was a fun match.
I didn't hate it.
I thought this was a strong showing for the team of Joe, Hook, and Shibata, honestly.
Yeah. This is the match that made Alice, who did not like Hook.
Do not.
Does not, but cheered for Hook.
That is true.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
The storytelling. This was another match that had great storytelling, especially regarding Hook, because he seemed like that small guy in a forest of giant men, and instead of trying to like outpower them, he was wily. He kept ducking, he was scrappy, he double axe handled off the
top rope. He ate that. He took a shoulder to the gut on Large William as he came down, so he was feeling that too.
Yeah. So, seeing Samoa Joe's reaction when both Shibata,
he just laughed
at the walk away. He looked like such a proud dad.
He was just. I wonder if that was a surprise to him. It was like, "Hey, we got something for you at the top." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great," and that's what they showed him. He was like, "Okay, okay."
I love that.
Just really quick, one of the things I saw on the internet today about this match, which I feel speaks volumes for Joe. It's the title of it was how to really, I'm slaughtering the title, but how to push young talent, and it showed the picture where Hook, when they came in, Hook was up front and Joe was to the side. You had Hook and Shibata in the front, and Joe was there, but he was behind them, letting the new talent, letting the young talent, take that stage. So I felt that was, that speaks volumes to the type of person that Samoa Joe is, and what we're getting with the Joe Hook Shibata trio.
Yeah.
This was a good showing. Like, I liked 5 out of 6 people in this match.
Yeah.
Let me just say, my 3 favorite moments of this whole match is Joe and Cobb going at it, like them just trying to out Samoa each other.
That's the old slapping man meat days.
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Hook T-bone suplex Jeff Cobb, which is not an easy feat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hook hitting the Judas effect on Jericho for the pin. This was the first loss of the night for me, but I was so happy that I was wrong, because I was like, oh my gosh, they actually did the right thing, and they let our, I guess, face team win.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Shibata Large William. Am I crazy?
Me too. No, me too. Like when Shibata grabbed him and like did a pop up like power, like just picked him up and bam towards the end. I was like, oh yes, let's go.
I mean, Large William makes everyone look small, but Shibata to me just looks like a Greek god in Japan. Like, dude's gorgeous, and I'm just like, I want to see you roll him. Like, can we see? Because he was hitting him hard. Like, and I'm a Large William fan because he's so flippin' goofy. But I think that's a match I would love to see. You're right. Chris Jericho kind of takes some of the joy out of this for a few reasons, obviously. But this is as good as it could have gotten, I think.
Yeah. I will admit, the one thing I missed from this match, and maybe if we have a Shibata versus Large William match, we're gonna get it, is that spot where Shibata sits down, crisscross applesauce in the middle of the ring with the opponent, and they just trade shots back and forth. That I was hoping that we would get that with him and Large William. So if they do a Shibata Large William match, that's gotta see it.
Do a power slap match right in the middle of the ring.
Slap, yep.
Whenever Bad Apple Brian Keith is good to go, I want to see Shibata and Brian Keith go at it, because their styles of hard hitting are very similar.
That'd be fun too.
More, how much is more Shibata? Can I get more Shibata, please?
I mean, that's always the thing that we say across all the promotions. I'm like, can we get, instead of more cowbell, it's more Shibata?
More Shibata. Can we put a little Shibata on that, please? That'd be great. Thanks.
I think I found our new T-shirt idea.
It's a Shibata in like a salt
Yes.
shaker, and we're just putting him
more
on.
Shibata.
More Shibata, please.
Loved it. Alrighty, so
it's gotta be the horrible Olive Garden cheese thing. Tell me when, and it's just Shibata.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So Joe, Hook, and Shibata win. Super happy to be wrong on this one. And now, again, me at the beginning of the match, me at the end. Loved it.
Yeah.
So once this was all said and done, this is where things hit the fan, kids. Child, when I tell you. So this is the TNT Championship ladder match. This had Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, Konosuke Takeshita, The Scapegoat, Jack Perry, Lio Rush, and El Fantasma ELP. ELP gave me the one thing I wanted in this match, which was the nipple twister.
Like, so funny. That was so funny out of nowhere. And Jack took it. He
sold it very well.
Yeah, he did.
I'm just going to say this. Mark Briscoe is a madman.
Yes, he is. Really quick, I'm going to do a hot tag news really quick. Lio Rush did get injured. AEW did pull him from a show sometime this week. So he did get injured in the ladder match.
You know what spot? Or just that he was?
Just that he was. The initial report was that after the match, he said he was fine. But later on, I think he was evaluated by the medical staff, and they said, no, you're not fine.
Because there were a few moments in here where I was like, oh, you're going to be out for a while. And twice for me, it was Dante Martin.
Oh yeah,
Dante
when
Martin,
Takeshita did. Oh,
once
he grabbed his leg a couple of
So
times.
that
I was
one
just
time
like, don't do this.
He grabbed his leg and went nuts, and even commentary was like, no.
Yeah.
But when he did that thing on the ladder and the thing, I thought it got his ear. I thought it clipped his ear, and that the ladder went. And I thought, oh no, he's gonna. They're gonna cut back to him. There's gonna be blood everywhere. And then we didn't see him for like 10 minutes. So I was like, oh my God, this is Finn Balor and Adam Copeland all over again.
No.
They're stapling him together. He's going to show up looking like Texas Chainsaw. Like
my biggest worry was when Mark had Jack on the table and the table didn't necessarily break. When
it didn't break at all.
Yeah.
But when Takeshita threw ELP through the table, the way that ELP went through, because I have PTSD from TNA's Rebellion when Eric Young got his ear sliced off, and me and Andrew witnessed that live when we were watching the pay-per-view.
I was waiting for this. So what's interesting with ladder matches now is there's the ladders that are meant to bend and break. There's the ladders that you're meant to climb.
Yeah.
And then there's the ladders that you're meant to chest pass onto someone.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different things going right now.
Yeah.
And there's a moment, I don't know if any of you clocked this or if you saw it. There's a moment where Mark Briscoe's holding and he's not sure which ladder it is. And he's just like, we'll find out. Boom. And just throws it into someone's face. Bam!
That's what I was saying. Mark Briscoe is a madman.
So good. This made my matches for 2024. This is one that I will rewatch and I will take a look at and hold in consideration when we do the year roundup of things to watch. I think this is how you do a ladder match. Some of this, about the second half on, there was a little bit of looking over the shoulder, waiting for the okay, this is the spot where he jumps through the thing. So there was a little bit of hesitation, obviously, because this is hard. And of course, things don't go as planned. Some of these ladders broke at times. I didn't think they were supposed to, or if they were supposed to, it just looked like it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
This was fun. I know we say that a lot, but like I enjoyed watching this.
Yes. Yeah, it was. This was the. I totally agree. This is how ladder matches should be done.
Yeah.
Just the fact that no one came out leaking blood was amazing. And the other fact that for as brutal as some of those shots looked, everyone still walked out of the match, and the only thing we got was Lio Rush, apparently, being hurt. I I want to talk about Jack Perry's entrance. That goat
That
mask
was wild.
and that trench coat. Costuming. I don't know if that was his idea or like
great.
someone on the costuming team was like, "Hey, Jack, how about if you wear a goat?"
I wonder if someone thought of that, or if he went through a Halloween box. He was like,
Right? Yeah,
you know what?
yeah.
I'm gonna
I
bring
wouldn't be
this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had connections because remember he is the son of the late
Oh, yeah.
great
totally.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Perry
totally,
too.
Sure.
totally.
But I imagine this is in his Halloween box at home. He's like, hold on, let me go through this.
Yeah.
There we go.
I hope that we're done with that whole like wearing the scapegoat thing on his arm. Let him come out in that trench coat and wear that mask.
We just
Like,
start calling him the goat. Just call him the goat.
Yeah, just call
He's
him
the goat.
Yeah. I am.
Oh, you mean
bummed.
he's the greatest of all time? No, he's a goat.
No, he's a goat. Yeah.
Let him be one of the screaming ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I am bummed that Takeshita didn't win. I
The
wish
crowd was so behind him.
Oh, they were.
Yes.
And he looked like an ogre this whole time.
He is the Oni. He is the Oni
around. Yeah.
He threw Dante Martin into the ropes. They did the Irish Rip. Dante Martin goes under the ladder, comes off the ropes, and then Takeshita pushes the ladder into Dante Martin. That was like game over. Like, you just killed a man. And Dante sits there, takes it. Like, what?
Yeah. And then and then of course the least exciting electrifying move in sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb. When he put the guy through the 2 tables, when he put Phantasmo through 2 tables, I mean, that was amazing. I hope that they're leading towards Jack Perry versus Takeshita, just because I don't know, I'm kind of torn on this. As of late, Takeshita has put the work in.
Yeah.
And I feel that he deserves a championship. At the same time, with Jack Perry, with everything that happened with the CM Punk stuff and all that, he's kind of put his work in as well, but in a different way. To have the belt, like I don't want to say he's deserving, but like it's better than giving it to someone that just like walked through the door and first match wins a championship type thing.
I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you.
I hope that this might build up to Takeshita Perry. And then the other thing too, and I mean, I know it was a ladder match and there was a lot of stuff going on, but I'm surprised of the lack of Don Callis family interference
in this ladder match. Yeah. I think I get the feeling they didn't want to go to the well too much for this one, because potentially you could have Don Callis all over this thing throughout it because of so many folks loosely connected to the thing. So they kind of saved it for the end to let everyone almost forget about it, and then we'll talk about when the Don Callis shows up.
About that. Yep.
You two might know better than me. Has Takeshita ever held a title AEW?
Nope.
Yeah, that's blasphemy.
Yes.
At this point it is.
This dude is one of the greatest athletes in professional wrestling, period.
Yes.
Has been a workhorse every week on more than one of your properties.
Yep.
At least since the last 2.5 years I've been reviewing.
And has put on bangers.
Fantastic matches over and over and over again against a murderer's row of other talent.
Yep.
So I absolutely agree with you. I think giving it to Jack Perry is because, hey, you've paid your dues sort of mentally, emotionally, and publicly. Like you got dragged through the mud for 6 months for all these reasons. And I don't think it's a gimme. It's not like, hey, let's give you a title because you went through this. Not at all. Dude's still a workhorse, still a pillar, was still doing great stuff as Jungle Boy. And then we had this transition. Still puts on great matches.
Yes.
But there's also part of me as Takeshita, like, that guy, you cannot deny that guy. My God.
I also feel the same way too, because Dante has not won a title in AEW.
And Dante,
either,
I was calling for
singles or
Dante.
tag.
I was
or
calling for
tag
Dante
either.
to win this last year, or last week, excuse me. Dante is amazing.
Yeah.
Him and Top Flight hasn't won a tag team championships, which is crazy to me. And Dante has yet to win a singles title too, but who knows? But this was a fantastic ladder match. Jack Perry finally earns his first singles title. He is the new TNT championship. And as of right now, the Elite holds a lot of like the big gold when it comes to AEW. So this is fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens this upcoming week and leading into All In. This was also in my top like 5 matches of the evening. I love me a good ladder match. Mark Briscoe is a madman. This was fantastic. It was so good. So then we have reached the pinnacle. This is where me and El Buntador and probably Professor are going to have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this. But we have a title for title match, and the TBS Championship and the New Japan Strong Women's Championship are on the line. Somebody's walking out with 2 titles. We have the CEO, Mercedes Moné, your TBS champion, taking on La Primera of CMLL, Stephanie Vaquer, who is your New Japan Strong Women's Champion. On paper, this should have been the barn burner when it came to not just women's matches, but to all the matches, except for our main event, because any match was going to be hard to live up to it.
Yeah.
But I sat with this. I was mad. Anybody who checked the text thread knew I was very salty. And then I rewatched it today. I'm not mad anymore, but I am extremely disappointed because, you know, it might, whatever the reason, ring rust, like a new different style of everything, but they muted Stephanie so much in this match. And girl's a professional. And that was a bummer. To go from her match defending this championship, like not even like a couple days ago, a week ago at Fantastica Mania against La Catalina, watching those women fight at it, and then to watch this match, I was like, damn, this was a letdown.
So I ignored the group text as much as I could, like I told you all, because I was doing stuff and I was a little bit behind. There was a point where my phone lit up exponentially. And in doing the math, it would have been around the time this was going on. And I was like, oh, something happened. My phone's going nuts. So I want to go back and see how angry the Mikey got. I felt like something was missing after I've heard everything that you said about Stephanie the Tiefling based on the photo that she has there.
Yep.
I was expecting a lot more, particularly just from what we've all said and what we talked about. And I don't know if it was, she still did great in my opinion. I did not hate this. I still enjoyed watching her, not knowing her work like I should. So I'm saying that outright as a horrible person who doesn't know her work like I should. But even in the trailers and the previews and the stuff that I've seen her do in when they've led up to this, I didn't see any of that here.
Yeah.
She's still really smooth. She worked great. She sold well. Is this an example of Stephanie doing less to help Mercedes? Because in my opinion, this is not. Mercedes Moné is having a really hard time since she got here.
And that, John, you hit the nail exactly on the head and why I am so upset. I want to say one thing and make it clear. This was not a bad women's match. This was a good women's match. There were a bunch of good spots. It told a good story, right? It was not a bad women's match. However, you didn't get to see Stephanie Vaquer. And that infuriates me because I have watched, and I started watching CMLL for the past 2 months, and in these past 2 months, she's a workhorse. In every match she's in, like, she does the things that she does, except without that huge break in the middle. It's just like boom, 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 for like 15 minutes straight, right? And seeing her in this match, yes, it felt like they were like, Stephanie, we need you to dial it down to a 7. Where I don't know if they didn't want Mercedes Moné hurt again, because not only from her injury that she suffered, but also, she's doing movies and TV shows and all this stuff. So, maybe they're putting imaginary bubble wrap on Mercedes Moné. But yeah, it just, it was frustrating to see the Stephanie Vaquer that we saw, because that is not real Stephanie Vaquer.
And the internet's kind of torn as well. I didn't go too in depth beforehand, but has Mercedes Moné I would say Mercedes Moné has had one like exceptional match since she got here, and then had maybe 2 months of there's a whole section in here where there's about, I don't know, 30 seconds of them talking to each other about what to do next, and the ref kind of playing interpreter with her in sort of, hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you this? Hey, what do you think? What do you this? It's a long time. And the camera cuts away once or twice. They cut back. I'm watching it right now. They pan in. They're still talking about what they want to do. Stephanie's hiding her face, trying not to communicate. So I don't know if they got lost or if they were just not on the same page from there on out. I'll say this, not knowing Stephanie's work, and I got your link, Mikey, so I'll do my homework on her. She looks like she's sandbagging a little bit. That she's holding back how fast she wants to go and how much she wants to do or spots she wants to have.
Yep.
And there's this look on her face of like, okay.
Yep.
And there's a frustration there that I'm seeing now this is my 2.5 times through here. Like, she looks not angry or upset, but definitely like checked out. So I'm kind of worried what this means for Mercedes moving forward, because we saw Mercedes showing up as the savior of the women's division. Yeah. And it has not, we're what, Mikey, we're 5-6 months in, and it has not really panned out.
And that's, go ahead, Mikey. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll come back to the match, but I do want to get this. Obviously, Mercedes wins. She's double champ, but the real savior of the women's division comes back.
Yes.
I'm going to quote somebody in our group chat. I'm not going to say who, but when this person said this, I was like, that's harsh, but I can't disagree. It seems that we're setting up Mercedes versus Britt Baker, and somebody in our group chat last night says that Mercedes did not show up and do enough to earn this feud with Britt.
Nope.
And I'm just like, well, hot damn. That was harsh, but I can't disagree either.
Oh, they missed. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at two things. One, whoever said that in the group chat, A+. They missed the joint kip-ups together in the middle of this, where they look at each other, eye contact, and they go 1, 2, 3. And Stephanie goes on 3, and Mercedes goes on 3. And it's they just missed it. I'm happy to see Britt back. I like Britt.
Me too.
It's been forever. I hope we get to see her pull some teeth out and do some awkward dentistry. I want to see. I like 6-pack cut Britt too. Like, Britt looks like she's gonna wreck house. Good for her. I kind of agree, and that makes me sad because I'm a Mercedes fan. I like her story. I like where she's coming from. I don't know what it's been. If she's in her head, if it's not booking, because they kind of gave her the world. It's not creative, because I'm sure she went there thinking, I want to be in charge of XYZ. The film promos have been, what are we doing? I don't know, man.
Well, I want to speak to that real quick because so in Fantastica Mania, when Stephanie held on to the NJPW Strong title, and then Mercedes comes on, right? And this is in Arena Mexico, right? After the match, in the middle of Mexico City, Mercedes Moné walks in, right? And they cut this. They cut this thing where Mercedes is like the CEO, and Monet changes everything, and then Stephanie shoots back with the Mercedes, you're in my house, and in my house we speak Spanish, right? Because Mercedes Monet is saying everything in English, right? And then they throw down. We're talking like back alley bar, two females that are drunk rolling out of the bar, pulling hair, throwing punches at each other, right? There was so much energy there. And then with the promo spots that Mercedes that they showed of Mercedes, where she's like, I've trained my ass off for this, and it shows her in her training. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, we're gonna see it, And I was just expecting this high energy, electrifying, fast-paced, just like barn burner. And it didn't happen. So I don't know.
I think our sentiments are basically reiterated by the crowd at the end, the last 30 seconds of this.
Yeah.
There's literally like 3 dudes standing up going, yeah. No one else.
Yeah. Did anyone see that one poster that someone in the front row had? Mercedes Moné.
Dang.
That's hard. That was a tough one. Yeah.
It is tough. And even though we're criticizing this in no way, shape, or form, well, yeah, so
it's still with love. It's still I could not get out of this chair and do any of the things that these two women did.
Exactly.
And more of what we're speaking to is the sort of what's going on. Is there something we don't know, right?
Well, and that's what it is, because we know that Mercedes can keep up with Stephanie.
Yeah.
At full speed. So what happened? Where was the disconnect? Again, like, are they protecting Mercedes because they don't want her re-injured? Does she have like TV deals that are coming up that she can't?
That's what I was going to say.
She can't walk on set.
Here's a hot take,
and blue,
and we can move on from this. Here's a hot take, and I think this is the sad state of wrestling. With an international sport theme, for whatever you want to call it, American style is slow and boring. Go to Japan, hit as hard as you can. Go down to Mexico, go as fast as you can. Go to England and be as technically sound as you can. Go to mainland Europe, chop fest, and play the crowd.
Shoot, you can go to South America too.
Go to Australia, be technical, be snotty, do the theater. Go to South America, go hard, fast, and loose. Go to America, be boring. Make your 3 minutes last 8. Wait for the camera angles. Hit your mark. If that's true, not a good look.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yes. Moving on. So I forgot to put this into the slideshow, but it was after this match that we got the announcement that on Sunday, January 5th, 2025, we are having the crossover event of the century. We're taking Forbidden Door and injecting it with steroids, but it is Wrestle Dynasty, and it is going to be a super
dome. The
Tokyo Dome.
Dude, that's crazy.
So cool.
And this is the night after New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom. So it's going to go Saturday is Wrestle Kingdom 19. And then on Sunday, it is Wrestle Dynasty. And it is going to be CMLL, AEW, New Japan, Stardom, Ring of Honor. Like,
I'm excited.
I
In the
want this
Tokyo
to be
Dome.
good in the Tokyo Dome.
And
That's
that's kicking off the year.
Yeah.
That could
Two
be
nights,
the
rest-
best that could be the best pay-per-view of the year, and it's in January of the year.
It's
I know.
crazy. Like we're getting
Man.
back to back New Japan's biggest pay-per-view with
Good.
Wrestle Kingdom, and then the next
Excited.
night is this
Excited.
big crossover. I love it. But we move on. Okay, we're gonna upset a couple people in here because now on paper. So first and foremost, this is for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And here I'm just like, this is our semi-main event. So it's like, okay, this should be cool. Like I'm expecting them because they threw down at Resurgence back in May, in which Naito lost the title. There's blood. It was crazy. I was like, oh, this is about to be on and popping. By the end of this match, I didn't include it either, but my reoccurring promo, GIF, my meme of Tiffany New York Polar sitting on the bench with her shades on, just looking devastated, is how I felt by the end of this match. I was so disappointed. I want my money back. I want my money back. This was, I give Chris Jericho crap about his character and just him as a person. But when I look at this whole pay-per-view from beginning and end, this was not my favorite match. This is at the bottom of my list because I know Naito can do more and Mox can do more. They picked it up the last 2 minutes, but everything leading into that, I was just like, this is not even a standard for slow New Japan wrestling. What is happening?
Yeah.
I was so disappointed with this match.
I wasn't quite that disappointed. This felt like I could have watched this on Dynamite match. It felt very reserved to me. Some good spots. They hit hard. They worked well together. It wasn't the fireworks of your co-main events. Bonus points to Jon Moxley for walking out in a 1989 windbreaker.
I will say that was a good. I need to buy one of those. I love those New Japan windbreakers.
Yeah, that was sexy time. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
It was still violent. It wasn't. There was something kind of lacking here. I don't know what it was. I kind of felt the same way. And like, I've seen these two go. They're not really going.
Yeah, this is another one that it just like, we know the type of work that these two put out. And for the first 3 quarters, 90% of the match, it was just, what? It was Alice fell asleep. I was, I at the beginning, I'm like, yes, Mox and Naito. I'm gonna go get a snack.
Oh, that's rough.
This ended up being my pee break match, which is very sad to say.
Yeah,
now,
which
the pacing of as I'm rewatching it now, the pacing of this is strange, right? There's a lot of breaks for air or breaks for, ooh, that really hurt. I'm going to take a second. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I mean, we saw more out of Mox last week on Dynamite in that trios 3-on-3 madness thing, right? All hell broke loose with that. So you're kind of expecting a bit of that frenetic energy. The crowd is not in it. The crowd is checked out completely.
Yes.
About halfway through this. They're done. Yeah. So this is a tough one. I'm not sure what happened here.
Yeah, there was more energy between Mox and Naito when they met on the ramp at, what was that, Dynamite?
Sure.
That brawl on Dynamite had more action.
Where Naito like stripped on the ramp and they met. That had more energy than the entirety of this match, which is terrible to say because again, like we know that they can put on engaging matches.
And I think what makes this feel worse
happened.
This was 30 minutes, guys. This was 27:50.
It was tough.
This went on and on.
It was rough.
And on.
I mean, good on Mox for dropping the title, but yeah.
I mean, that's huge, sure. And we kind of went back and forth on our picks about that happening. Would it happen? Would it not happen? I leaned on, hey, Moxley's going to hang on to it because Moxley never loses.
We all did.
Yeah.
And then this is like, oh, well, that makes sense. I think JVL was the one saying it does make sense if you think of it this way.
Andrew was
though
the
he
one
picked
who
Mox.
said that. Andrew was the one that said it. That made sense that New Japan wouldn't let Mox hold it for long.
Yeah.
And so Naito has it. I'm hoping that this second run with Naito ends up, and I'm channeling JVL and saying this when we did our predictions. I'm hoping this is the big draw that New Japan needs, because they need a big star. Naito is loved in Japan, is loved in America, especially with Okada and Ospreay no longer in New Japan.
Yeah.
You have Sonata and Naito and everybody who is left. So we got to figure something out. But I was disappointed. I love Naito's finisher. The Destino is one of my favorite finishers ever. I just wished everything before the last 2 minutes was exactly what they did at Resurgence for New Japan's pay-per-view back in May, because that one was great. That was crazy match. This was really tamed. And to have 2 matches back-to-back where they kind of nerfed everybody involved, mostly Stephanie in the previous match, but Naito and Mox were nerfed here too. I was like, what is happening? Is it because that the main event's about to be on and popping? That's not an excuse. Like, I'm sorry.
You don't have to go rewatch this whole thing. I'm just watching it now because we're talking about it. Right at the last 30 seconds and then the pin. The crowd applauds and it's over. There's if anything, because I don't have the sound on right here, there's probably a little bit of pumped in, whatever, but I can count a handful of people who are like, yeah, woo, and a few folks who are like, okay, they're checked out. There's one guy in the middle who looks like he's 500 pounds and he is just disappointed. He's staring down the thing. That's rough. I don't know. There was the weird I almost thought it was a ref botch. The false count, where it's like that was a 3 count.
Yes,
and
that's what I wrote down too. I was like, what?
And Moxley gets up and gets mad and goes to get him with the chair and all that. I was like, there was something wrong there, or someone forgot a kick out, or something. Right?
It actually almost looked like the ref went 1, 2.
It's like,
and then there was
and then never did it. And Moxley got up like, "What are you doing?" And then went to
Somebody forgot to kick out. I'm just like,
Naito's bleeding too. There's some blood on his lips and nose. I wonder what that's about. I don't know, man. This was
a tough match. Yeah, this was tough. Right. This was not my favorite. Naito wins. Okay.
Now here we go.
Stretch. I got to stretch for this one. Where'd my towel go? But like, okay, let's be honest. This was probably everybody's match of the night.
Oh, how is it not? My God.
It wasn't mine. It was not mine.
It was not yours?
No, my match of the night was Lucha Brothers and Mystico.
Oh, of course.
Okay, well, okay, let's separate. So that was the best one.
What a sandwich you have. You have really great bread and everything else.
Right.
Honestly, though, but like, okay, I will say this. This is my favorite match on the main card. Lucha Bros versus LIJ is my favorite of 0 Hour. But I love, forget you too, open the door. But we have for the AEW World Championship. This is where I'm going to get in my soapbox, but Swerve Strickland defending his title against the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. Shout out to Will Ospreay's gear being inspired by the legendary Hayabusa.
Yeah,
like that was so cool to look, and the video package they played was awesome. I loved it. And then Will Ospreay having the name of his nan on the forearm because she passed away earlier in the week. When I tell you, when I'm looking for storytelling in wrestling, this is what I'm going to show people. Be like, it's not that hard to give me a story in matches, because Swerve won. He's still our AEW World Champion. But by the end of this match, both sides came out winners because Swerve has his title, but Will made Swerve bring every trick out of the book to keep him down. And it was honestly, I feel like the only reason Swerve really won is because Ospreay ran out of gas first in the tank and he couldn't muster up the energy to keep pushing through and fighting back.
Sure.
This match was awesome. The opening sequence with them running all over the place. Lots of house calls, lots of storm, like there's Stormbreakers, hidden blades, hidden
blades. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this was a feast for the eyes, in my opinion. This was such a great match. And even the appearance by the Don Fallis family didn't even take away my enjoyment. I was like, shout out to Nana. He is the best manager. He was getting all up in there ready to fight people. Like,
we'll talk about the match in a second, but you brought it up. Commentary going, Nana's not that strong. I think Don Callis might have sold that a little. Like, even them calling it out, like, oh,
I was so mad. I was like, shut up. Don't break the illusion.
Give him that. Come on. This was incredible. I think you're right. If there are elements of this that were just as technical as Zack Sabre, Orange Cassidy, right?
Yes.
There was some stuff in there that was like, how did you do that?
Yep.
I love what you're talking about storytelling wise, and the ring psychology. When you give two professionals 30 minutes, it's all there. And this is probably what was missing from 90% of the rest of the card. It was definitely missing from Naito and Jon Moxley, right? The storytelling thing. Why am I doing what am I doing? Moments where Swerve rolls out of the ring and it's like, oh yeah, that's smart. It's like, yeah, that's smart. Get out of the way. What's interesting, and these two do it better than anyone, it's not what you counter, but how you counter.
Yes.
Some of how you are countering these ridiculous things. Countering the Tiger Driver by putting your hand on the ankle and rolling with the thing into a what?
Yep.
When there was some sort of armbar triangle thing that Swerve got Ospreay in, doing 3 kip ups to get to the rope to grab it with your toes.
Yep.
These little cool nuanced things. I love the kicks to the face. They took some shots to the face.
Yeah.
Swerve sold that massive one out on Ospreay just sold the one Swerve did off the apron. That huge ballet Batma kick was devastating.
That was so good. Amazing.
This is on my match. Another Will Ospreay for my matches of the year. Like this is one to watch again at the end, and this is probably in my top 3 or 4 because my God, they work so well together.
They did, and before I talk about anything else, I'm frustrated that Swerve at the end getting down to Will's level, because Will is sitting there just destroyed, and kissing him on the forehead. Like, that was such a powerful moment, and it felt like no one on the internet was talking about that.
Sure.
That's a sign of true respect. Damn it, I wish Will was here, because Will brings this up on all the reviews he's a part of, but the big thing he loves is the actual sportsmanship when the wrestlers drop their characters to show the sign of respect to their opponents. And that's exactly what Swerve did with Will after the match, but nobody wants to talk about it. I was like, you guys, like, this was a hard match. Like, both of them gave it everything they had.
Everything, and also, like, Will Ospreay, he's coming in right in on a super high, because since he's come into AEW, he has not lost and has just been, like, lauded as he should, because he is that good, but this, which great acting on Ospreay's part. And because again, it's like, was it really a work, or did some kayfabe get in there where he's just, he's sitting there on the mat and he looks like a man just destroyed, not physically, but mentally, and Swerve,
his spirit broke after this match.
Yes. His spirit was just gone, and Swerve, like, comes to him and hearkening back to, like, those earlier promo videos where they showed the two of them palling it out and whatnot, like a big brother, getting down and kissing him on the forehead, like, oh man. And later on, as Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay were walking out, Kyle Fletcher being there supporting Will, kissing. I don't know if anyone saw, but Kyle kissed Will on his on his shoulder. It was just like, it was such a great, sensitive moment in such a violent time that I'm frustrated that no one talked about it more. The match was a banger. It was a banger of a match. Great storytelling. I feel that we are now starting to see, we're going to be seeing the sprouting of Will Ospreay breaking away from the Don Callis family.
Sure.
I have a feeling either on Dynamite or on Collision that there's, Don Callis is going to call out Will Ospreay, and then he's just going to have Trent and maybe Takeshita descend upon him, and then Kyle is going to come in, and then we'll see the new Kingdom, not United Kingdom, but the
Undisputed.
The United Kingdom. The new United Kingdom.
Oh,
Their old
Ospreay's
faction.
group?
Yeah, their old faction.
Please make the faction called the United Kingdom. Just call it the UK.
United. I mean, I wonder if for naming conventions, but yeah, they could be United Empire, which
Right.
is
We
still going
are
strong.
England, and it's just them walking.
And at this point, we get a returning Mark Davis, because I need Mark Davis to come back and reform Aussie Open with Kyle, and then him, Will, and those three would have it. But this was a fantastic match. Will almost stabbed Nana with the screwdriver, but he's like, no, I don't need this. I'm not going to do this. I was like, yes, Will, you be a good person.
Great.
Be a good person
on Ospreay's part. Oh man, this match had so many good parts.
Oh, it's so good.
That weren't just wrestling.
Yes.
So good. So good. So yeah,
I think and not taking anything away from this match. This match is exemplary. It's in my top 3 or 4 for the year. Coming off the previous 50 minutes to end with this, gave it that exalted, I'm not crazy. This is what I wanted to see, right?
Yeah.
There was a little bit of, okay, that's a pay-per-view. That's something special.
Yes.
That's something I don't see every week. Or that this is what it was. You brought it. You showed me something.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep. Exactly. This is why I bought your pay-per-view.
Yes. There you go. And this is what sells that stuff. What sucks is you have that hour and 10 in the middle where we're like, what are we doing? Just unfortunate. Again, we could nitpick this to death. And again, we don't need the review to be 3 days long like the pay-per-view was.
Right.
But overall, if you're going to stack the card and give us 5 hours, 4 plus 0 hour, you got to bring it, or you're going to lose stuff, and you're going to lose folks in the middle. People are going to tune out, or people aren't going to buy the next one.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. I think they're kind of leaning on an international crowd, kind of leaning on a Homer AEW crowd, trying to get those CMLL buys. If I was purely a New Japan and purely a CMLL guy, this doesn't convince me to buy an American pay-per-view ever again. Right? Yeah. You kind of did my talent dirty. But at least I saw Will Ospreay and Swerve. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a tough sell. Am I crazy? Is it kind of
no? I hate to say it, but yeah, for majority, I was sitting there. I was like, I could be watching the Saturday night CMLL show right now, but I'm watching this. Which I shouldn't be feeling like that,
right?
For Forbidden Door, I should be like, I am watching Forbidden Door, and it is awesome.
I will say,
and there were a few. Heck, let me just finish this up.
Yeah, go for it.
There were a few matches. That had me like that.
Yeah,
but then it just then after those few matches, it just there was such a huge disconnect that, yeah, it was just like, and that was frustrating. I'm sorry, Mikey. Go ahead.
All I was gonna say is that for me, this is the third Forbidden Door that we've done. So this is the third year. So on paper, I was super excited. There were about 4 matches that lived up to my expectations, but everything else felt like this was a good match, but you could have put this on a Dynamite or a Collision. And then
Yes.
there were just matches that did not deliver. And I was like, well, that's kind of disappointing. There was no match that I was like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible match. This is bad. Like, Nick did 0 out of 10 for me. But like, I am bold in saying this. The main event was awesome. Shingo versus Brian was great. Like, Danielson was great. I love Tony and Mina. That was fantastic. The ladder match was great. The Team Luchador versus LIJ on 0 hours, fantastic.
Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the thing, is there were so many good, up to par or exceedingly good matches. The stuff that doesn't work stands out.
For sure. And I will go as far as to say this is the weakest Forbidden Door. This is like, of the 3 years we've gotten this, I put this in number 3. This is not my favorite.
Remember the first Forbidden Door felt like it was a cult, and everyone was like, Forbidden Door is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
That one was so good despite the injuries and people getting sick too. Like, like that last year's was fantastic too. This year was kind of okay. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was fine.
And to speak on something that we had talked about earlier off the camera, that this Forbidden Door had a lot of buildup to it, unlike the previous years where like we didn't
announce all the matches the week of.
Right, exactly. We had yes, they did toss like 1 or 2 last minute matches. Actually, I think it was maybe 3 last minute matches, maybe.
This for this one.
Yeah, for this one.
There's like 3 or 4 within the last week.
Right. But the majority of the card we knew going into the show, and they actually had buildup, and it felt like the buildup to a bunch of those disappointing matches was better than the actual matches, which is sad, So, that's that.
Well, boys, that is going to bring us to the end of this Grapple Gurus review. So the final thing we're going to do, we're going to give final thoughts, give our empanada ratings, and then I am going to update the audience and us in terms of where everybody sits for the AEW Predictions League. So this is going to be fun. So let me just do this real quick.
Is the end of the year cumulative or per promotion?
Well, so each promotion is going to be a separate thing. So it's like, so we're keeping everything separate, but let's get into our final thoughts before we go into that. I'll go first. Again, there were like 4 or 5 matches that were fantastic. And, Abuntador, you brought up a good point. This was one of the better builds of a Forbidden Door with stories for a bunch of these matches. It's just that some delivered, some were okay, some disappointed me. I still thought this was strong, but after reevaluating and watching it through 2 times, I'm going to give Forbidden Door a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Actually, 6.5. I was going to give it to 7, but then I thought about it after the second throw. I was like, well, dang, never mind then. Again, good matches, but you could have cut out some of these and replaced them and utilized your international talent a lot better. I'm just saying. But I give this a 6.5 out of 10. I still enjoyed myself. There were matches that I liked, but for everything else was okay to, I'm kind of disappointed. Nothing was inherently bad, but I feel that being average is worse than being bad or excellent.
Wow.
That's where I sit.
Bunta, please, Bunta.
So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 on the empanada scale. My 2 main reasons for that are Stephanie Bakur. I am very, very upset by that. And Alice fell asleep during Moxley Naito, and it's John Moxley and Naito.
So yeah, saying that out loud is like,
yes,
wait, what?
She fell asleep. She was tuned in up into that, like 5 minutes into the match. I hear, I'm like, yeah. So 6 out of 10.
I think you could have replaced. You could have gotten rid of 0 Hour, switched out 4 matches, and this is an 8 or 9 out of 10, right?
Exactly.
Some of the promo packages in between every single match kind of killed your momentum in a way. You found a way to tune the audience out, which is unfortunate. So the planning of this, the creative of this could have gone better. I think the first half, I don't know, first half of 2 days. What does that even mean? The first handful of matches really brought it and kept the momentum that 0 Hour gave them. Then there was that 90-minute lull where we were like, what are we doing here? And Will Ospreay and Swerve weren't enough to save it. I agree with y'all. This is a 6 or 6.5, which is a shame because usually I go 7 because that's a safe thing for me to say. No, even with the really... Go ahead.
How do you all eat half an empanada?
You keep it like we're white people. We keep it for later.
What? I don't understand this half eating. Okay.
I'm a teacher, so I want to give you more points where I can. So
I know.
Here, I'll give you 0.5.
Hey, we're trying to be fair here.
What gives you a D in the class? A 6.7? You got a 6.7. Okay, good job. So yeah, I'm kind of in that world for this. What's hard is saying, yeah, this is a 6.5, and 2 matches of the year are on it for me, which is so weird to in my brain to be like, yeah, this was kind of a pay-per-view, but 2 of the matches on here could be the matches of the year that you just saw. How is 0 Hour better? And just more complete,
right.
more complete than recent recent dynamites and collisions and everything else. Like you nailed 0 Hour. What in the hell happened after that?
Again, you could have swapped a couple matches on the main card for like 2 or 3 of the matches. Honestly, you should have put that trios match of Team Lucha versus Team LIJ on the main card and have that open the show. And that was
gonna say
fantastic.
That opened your show. You bump MJF and Hechicero to be your co-main. Maybe now you got a little bit more momentum where you need it, but we'll never know.
That is very fair. All right, boys. So here we go. Let's get this graphic up. So,
you made a graphic for this? No.
Yes. So I made this graphic, and what I've done is
Mikey's jealous of Andrew's graphics. That's all it boils down to.
I kid you not, when Andrew blew us out of the water when we did our own Continental Women's Classic, and he had a whole video and everything, I was like, we got to do this. But what I did is because Dynasty was kind of last minute, but I've included the scores from Double or Nothing and Forbidden Door, and this is where let's go through all of these. So here are the current AEW pre.
Come on.
So I'm gonna say this real quick. So we're gonna start these. This graphic includes the first set of win-loss is for Forbidden Door, and then the second one to the right of each one is the total in the league. So currently in last place is the Professor with the Forbidden Door score of 9-5 and a cumulative of 16-8. In third place is JVL with a Forbidden Door record of 11-3 and a cumulative of 17-7. In second place is El Buntador, Forbidden Door record 10-4 and a cumulative of 18-6. And finally, in first place, by some miracle, because I almost swept this one because I did horrible at Double or Nothing, but I ended up with a Forbidden Door score of 12-2. And my cumulative is sitting at 19-5. So I'm currently in the lead. But I'm telling you right now, the next AEW pay-per-view is All In, and Wembley last year destroyed my predictions. So I'm guessing it's going to destroy me again this year. But that is where everybody sits right now in the AEW league.
If I was an MMA fighter, I would retire. Like I would be Bob Sapp, and I would just check myself.
Go to commentary.
Oh my gosh. Or YouTube. Hey, you guys want to do a watch along? Hey.
I'm from Long Island, by the way.
This is my Long Island MMA watch. I used to fight, My record is 17-84, but I used to get in the ring and mix it up with some talent. This is my cousin.
Let's see. We still have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 AEW pay-per-views left this year, so anything can happen at this point. But that is going to be it from us. Yes, do the etchy settle. But that is going to be it for us here at Grapple Gurus. Thank you so much for tuning into this live review of AEW New Japan's Forbidden Door. Starting this week, you will catch us live for all of our TV show reviews starting tomorrow with the Raw Squad team, where we will be covering the Go Home show for Monday Night Raw before Money in the Bank. We are reviewing almost every show this week, and then come back next Monday as the Wrestle Watch crew, your WWE team, will be covering Money in the Bank. Crazy things are about to go down. It's going to be fun. But from myself, El Buntador, the professor, and everybody else here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic. More importantly than anything, though, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you tomorrow for the Monday Night Raw live review. But until then, adios, sayonara, and we will see you tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.
Billy, start.